welcome to another episode of What the Tech, where today we're doing Prime Days 2021. Welcome to the podcast today, where we're going to be talking about tech. We're going to be showing you some new products. We're going to be looking at the Voyager Focus 2 Bluetooth headset. We're going to be looking at speakerphones and webcams. But before we get to all of that, I just want to let you know we're letting you take a look at how we do the whole thing. It's a little bit different, not how we normally do things, but we want to let you inside on how we do things just to bring you a little fresh perspective on how the sausage gets made, a little backstage-ish kind of view into the little studio that we've set up here. But before we get to all of the shenanigans, the guy who helps me steer straight when I navigate the wrong way, all the way over here in the other Magic Square, who is my friend and partner in this podcast, Dave Kelly. What up?
Hey, Rolando, what's going on? That's a nice setup over there, man. We saw that yesterday. I think that's kind of a cool, different angle, kind of Howard Stern-ish, with
I
the
like him.
side, with the
He's
side
yeah.
piece.
If I could only be a little tiny little speck of Howard Stern, boy, that'd be awesome. But yes, a little different perspective for the folks that are watching us that join us on the visual side. And if you're just listening in and tuning in, you're in for a fun ride today. Dave, part two from where we left off yesterday.
Yeah.
We did get quite a bit of folks tuning in yesterday on the different social channels that we're on, and we definitely want to bring them for those people that did not get to tune in, bring them up to speed on what they missed out on, and showcase some of these products for them.
Yeah, no, this is really cool. So yesterday was our first day of Prime Day 2021. Today is day 2. We're going to go for a couple of hours, and then we're going to go for a couple of more hours later on. We're here for questions and answers.
That's right.
Anything humorous somebody wants to chime in, you want to share a funny story with a headset, tell us how you're working without one.
Yeah, you
How
going
did
back
you
to the
change your
office?
life with one? It'd be funny to find out before headset, after headset, or before speakerphone, after speakerphone, before webcam, after webcam. And those are the stories that you and I think are going to focus on after Prime Days, is more case study type stuff, right? There's a lot of folks that are buying from us. There's a lot
That's
of
right.
and customers. We love you all. Thank you so much for trusting us with your hands-free and UC device requirements. So we couldn't do it without you. We truly, truly appreciate your business, and be aware we might be reaching out to you so that you can share your story, promote your business.
Yes.
We'll have some fun with it. We'll see if anyone else follows suit.
That's right. That's right. Well, take Dave up on that offer. We'd love to feature you and share your story with the rest of our community. And
Yeah.
speaking of community, Dave, I saw some stuff here that we were flashing about the website on Amazon. I want to invite you right now, before we get into all the meat and all the heart of the action, to like, subscribe, follow, hit all the bells and whistles wherever you happen to be watching us or listening to us, because there are certain things that we release that are not part of the podcast. And we want you to be on the inside and make sure you get all the scoops that we come out with throughout the week. The way to do that is to follow. And I don't know what particular platform you're on. If you're on Amazon, I know the follow button is somewhere. I can't see it on my monitor. Hit that button. YouTube, hit the subscribe and bell. Facebook, I think it's like and subscribe, Dave, or like, one of those.
Sounds right.
Like and follow. Yeah. So now that we got all of the particulars out of the way, Dave, let's tell the folks what we're going to start off with today that they want to hear and see and have us talk about.
First, we want to take a look at one of the better Bluetooth headset options that's available on the market from Poly, called the Voyager Focus 2. This headset is one of the newest products on the market. We're going to talk about its comfort. We're going to talk about its audio quality. We're going to show you how you connect it. Its interoperability. It's a big word for me. Interoperability with Teams and other UC platforms. Some real world tests that you've done on your own over the weekend. I tell you, man, by the way, I love these tests that we do on the not just the headsets, but on the webcams. when our producer Ori is putting these things together, he's indicating what's the headset and what's the not headset, or webcam and not webcam. So pay attention to that, viewers, so that you can kind of see the difference between the devices that we're promoting against, you know, what you might be using today. Your embedded laptop camera, your embedded microphone or speakerphone on your cell phone or mobile device. So definitely take a look at these demos. We work really hard on them, and there's, you know what, they're helpful. You and I promote these products all the time, and when
Right.
people are asking for our advice, it's nice that we've actually taken the time so that we can give them the real advice, and they know that it comes from the heart. They know that we've measured it ourselves so that we're giving the right suggestion.
That's right. I wouldn't say that we actually used every single product that we have, but we've probably touched it, used it, or troubleshot a lot of these ourselves, and folks on our staff. So you're getting some expertise between at least Dave and I. You're getting at least 40 years of experience in this business. So you're rest assured, whether you're buying from us on Amazon or any other platform that we sell these products, you're getting the backing of folks that know what they're talking about, that have spent a lot of hours, hundreds of hours, that probably undercounting that, Dave, if we accumulate all the
Right,
hours
right.
of all of our staff and folks that are involved in bringing a lot of this information to you. But needless to say, our mission here is to help you sound better and look your best, at least from what we can on the technology side, so that you can put your brand in the best light forward. That's what we're about, and that's what we want to do. So, Dave, let's jump right into that Focus 2.
All right.
So, as Ori was showing you, and we've got it right here. Oh, yeah, we got it right here on the close-up cam. We got the Voyager Focus 2. This is a headset that is a Bluetooth headset. Dave was talking about Poly, which is a merger between Plantronics and Polycom, and now they've gone to the name Poly. And we've come out with a brand new headset called the Voyager Focus 2. And this Voyager Focus 2 is something that I've been using for the last month, and I absolutely love. There's a lot of things here to like, and we're going to dive into a whole lot of features. And if you have questions, go ahead and put them on the comments for us. But the Voyager Focus 2, I think, Dave, is one of the best new headphones in 2021 for a couple of reasons. I've been using this. It's been sitting on my desk for some time. It's got, let's start with comfort. I like comfort. I like, and most people talk to us, when they talk to us, they want to know, how does it feel? Because you can't really get a good idea on how something feels from looking at an image, but I can describe some of that for you. I could tell you that on the ear cups, which sit on your head, or I should say on your ears, those are really comfortable ear cups. I'm going to move in shot here a little bit closer so I can manage this. Okay, so these ear cups, very comfortable. They're quite oversized so that they fit around your ears very well, so that you can wear them all day. Let's talk about this headband. The headband itself is actually a two-part deal. First, you got your standard kind of metal shape over the top, and then you've got this nice, smooth, and soft, malleable leather that rests on your head. This is important, especially if you're going to be using something like this throughout the day, or you're going to be using it several times a day. You don't have to be somebody that isn't necessarily in a call center or in a in a help desk environment to take advantage of this, Dave. You could be a knowledge worker, you could be a telehealth worker, you could be a lawyer, a doctor, somebody that maybe interacts with clients throughout the day or periodically. But what you want to do is when you're talking to customers, you want to feel comfortable. Because if you're not comfortable, it kind of comes out in your voice.
Oh,
And people
absolutely.
feel that. And if you turn on a video camera and you feel uncomfortable and you don't sound great, all three contribute to people probably not engaging with you in the way you're looking to be engaged with.
You know, I think it's important for the viewers to understand that this design on the headband is unlike the other competitors in this space. Poly is they're the only manufacturer that kind of took this design route. Not saying that other products aren't comfortable, but they went out and they're trying something that's a little bit different. I myself haven't had this product on my head. I have been listening to Rolando for the past month talk to me. We have all of our meetings, and he had told me yesterday that this has been the headset that he has been using. He hasn't used anything else for the past month.
Nope.
He talks about the fact that it's so comfortable, talks about how it's not coming off of his head. And then we always have conversations about the sound quality because it's obviously our business. So he's always asking me, how do I sound? I'm outside. Can you tell I'm outside? Things like this. But this headband is just designed unlike the other manufacturers. And if you think about your business, if you are a stats driven organization, inbound or outbound, and you have metrics that you need to make, if your people are keeping the headset on, your stats will be better.
Okay.
If you bought something that's not comfortable, people will eventually take it off. It's just something, they need to take a break from their headset. They take it off. You know what? That's 3 calls that they didn't make that day. If you have 50 people, 3 times 50, you can do the math. There's always some math when it comes to metrics and how to improve them. So wearability and comfort are huge when it comes to headsets, especially in those types of call center knowledge workers where metrics is a deal.
Absolutely, Dave. And so I've just threw it on my head. And one of the things that when we're talking about comfort is that people use this in so many different ways and they have very different needs. And you saw I had my glasses on when we started off. People always tend to ask about glasses. And so this is a point of emphasis for those folks that are using glasses throughout the day. So you can see I already have my headset on, but I'm just going to slip it on just so you can see how easy it just slides right in. It doesn't obstruct the path to putting this on my ear. And it just rests on the ear cups rest on my head very nicely. They don't pinch a lot. The headband itself is very flexible. As you can see, I can expand it very easily. So whether you have a small little bean head like I do, or you have a big noggin, you're going to be able to use this in a way throughout the day. I find it, like I said, I've been using this particular one for about a month. I can actually wear this the entire day. I have a box of headsets behind me from a bunch of companies that we also sell where that's not the case. So this is one of those areas where this particular product stands out. The Voyager Focus 2 stands out when it comes to comfort. So props to Poly for really putting that as an emphasis point on this particular headphones. So that's the one thing. If you do have, if you've worn headsets in the past, they've pinched or made your ears hurt from the pressure and tension. This is something that you'll find a much. I'm trying to look for the right words, but this would be right up your alley if you're looking for something that rests on your head more comfortably. So you can see the leather headband rests on my head. So what I feel is just that leather or leatherette as it's called rest on my head rather than the metal. And the metal headband just kind of acts to stabilize the entire thing while the bottom portion acts to provide comfort. And I think, Dave, that one of the things that other headset brands do is when they combine something very cushiony and as well as in that inside of the metal, then you basically have a product where you're combining the rigidity of the headset as well as the comfort. And sometimes that works, but for some people it doesn't, because if the headset's too tight, there's not a ton you could do about the headset being too tight. In this case, they're kind of separated that so that the comfort comes from the headband that's in the leatherette, and the tension, at least that kind of stabilizes everything, comes from a separate device.
Yeah,
So
a lot of R&D and just the headband part of that. They have to measure the pros and cons, and that's you're giving up something, you're gaining something. That's the name of the game. Being experts in headsets, Poly, it seems like they really did it right for sure.
I think so too. And I think what we should also show folks that are watching us is we could go right over into the field. So we'll call it the field test with my 2 audio assistants. Let's go right to that, and then we could talk a little bit about what folks are seeing on the other side. Go for that, Ori.
Voyager Focus 2 out on the open field to see how well this mic performs against
a regular microphone that's just capturing audio, simulating a speakerphone. Let's take a look. Maybe you're outside on that day where you need to be out with the kids or other loved ones, and you got a windy day. You're expecting calls from the office or clients, and you want to make sure you don't sound like you're in a wind tunnel. There she goes. Here she goes. Here she goes. We're in a nice open field, summer day, cicadas, some sunshine, some clouds, a little bit of everything today. All right, and that has been a test with the new Voyager Focus 2 and my two audio engineers, four-legged one, two-legged one.
I love that. Hey, did the cicadas ever clear up down there?
You know, just like over the weekend, they finally calmed down. They've been flying and buzzing around all over the place, you know, especially walking out to that soccer field. I mean, all those trees around there, I mean, it was so, you could not believe how loud it was. And I guess you can, because on the road wireless mic, so it's just a straight up microphone, no noise canceling, you can really hear how loud it was. Loud that particular day that I shot that. And now they've quieted down. There's some out there, but very few cicadas are left. They're mostly on the floor carcass for all the birds and all the animals and whatnot. So when it comes to this, so what we wanted to talk about here, you know, what I noticed was I was trying to get my dog there on that video to come after me and chase me. She's 13 years old, and sometimes she does obey, and sometimes she does like, what are you talking about? I'm not running around. And it was really muggy and humid that day, so she was like, I'll run when I want to.
Yeah, in one of the frames, you see her sitting, looking the other way. You're talking directly to the camera. She's just sitting and just kind of. Am I on the clock?
That's her. That is her. That's my Bella. And
but I'll tell you,
I'm clapping. Look, so she starts off running, and then she's like, I'm done running. My little guy's the only one running.
You can hear the difference. I mean, it's night and day. If I had to have a conversation with you, so you and I do meetings all the time. Mm-hmm. If we weren't in the headset business and you weren't using this product and you were just using product B, whatever that was, mm-hmm. I would insist that you find something else, because for a quick 2-second phone call, that'd be fine. But if we were doing a 30-minute meeting or anything longer than that, we would get off the phone, and then I would go tell someone how bad of an experience I just had.
That's right. And I got to tell you, the other thing about this headset is you probably noticed it didn't fly off of my head as I was running around the field. Now, most people are not going to be running around the football field, or in this case, a soccer field, with a headset running. But hey, you know, we wanted to test the extreme. I want to know if it falls off my head, because I have headsets that I've used that just fall off very easily, just bending down to pick something off. You know, going to pet Bella, my dog. She sits right next to, like, right under my desk. That's her favorite spot. And so it stayed on my head the entire time. The other thing, you know, we haven't talked about this, and we could jump right into it, is the range on this. What you can't see that didn't make that video was that way out in the field there, where you get that shot right there where you see the Rode wireless mic, it's transmitting and coming through, but I was able to get that kind of distance out of the Voyager Focus 2 as well, and so it's got good range. But Dave, as you know, when we talk about range, we also got to talk about it in its proper context when we're talking about Bluetooth headphones, because a lot of people find that range is the one area outside of comfort. Is it comfortable? How does it feel? It's the range. People tend to get hung up on range and about connectivity issues, and we should talk about that for folks that are watching us for the first time, or maybe hearing and picking this up about the range on a Bluetooth device. And it doesn't have to be just this Voyager. It could be anything. It could be a Bose headphones. It could be a Jabra headset. It could be an older Plantronics one, or even the most expensive Bluetooth device on the market today. range is determined by physics. And
Yeah.
if your device is far away from your headphones or your other Bluetooth device, it's gonna have an issue. But when we're not talking so much the distance, we're talking about objects that get in the way. And with Bluetooth, you have a signal that is very sensitive to things that are in the way of the line of sight. So if you have, like in this case, maybe metal, or you may have books, or you may have your monitor, or the placement of the Bluetooth dongle itself. So if I were to put this Bluetooth dongle, that's what I've got here in my hand. If I were to put this Bluetooth dongle in the laptop that's behind me, go to the studio shop for a moment, Ori. So as you can see, I've got two laptops behind me. But if I were to plug this Bluetooth dongle that I have in my hand, and I plug it into one of these, the dongle is on the side of these laptops, and on this laptop behind me, the Bluetooth, I should say, the USB port to plug in this dongle is behind the display. So when you start off with having a Bluetooth dongle behind the computer, you are naturally going to invite issues when it comes to using your Bluetooth headset, maybe even your Bluetooth mouse or keyboard. You're going to find the same problem because this little dongle is, I'll put it on the close up. This little dongle does not, that's kind of the antenna, and you can see how small that is. It's a very small device, and that's where you're going to get the best connectivity. But if that connection point is sitting behind your computer, even if you're 10 feet away, you may experience problems with the connection. And this goes across every Bluetooth device, not just for Poly. It could be Jabra again, it could be a Bose, it could be any device that's using Bluetooth, because the signal is trying to connect to that point. Now, Dave, other folks are asking, why are you talking about the dongle? My MacBook is the latest and greatest. It's gonna have Bluetooth in it. I should be just fine.
Yep. Yeah, and we hear that every single day. Why do I need a dongle? My laptop has Bluetooth. Usually the Bluetooth that's built into PCs and laptops, it's more for signaling. It's more for a wireless mouse, a wireless keyboard. Doesn't necessarily support full duplex audio. Yesterday, Rolando, you and I were sharing. We're both Mac users. We're up to date. You know what? We have some pretty nice hardware out here. We can connect using the native Bluetooth on our MacBooks, and we can put a Bluetooth device and we can stream audio, and it sounds pretty good. But as soon as we're trying to do that full duplex, that conversation, that transmit and receive, the embedded Bluetooth, it's just not there. You know, they're making a manufacturer of these devices is not specializing in the audio and the video part of their solution. They're all about speed,
Yep.
their laptop processing, their size of the screen, the resolution of the screen, the feedback, you know, whatever it is. It's all these other interior components. They slap the Bluetooth and the camera on there because they can source those parts relatively inexpensive.
That's right.
Just so that they have it because the other guys have it. But in terms of using this dongle, if you're using your laptop or your PC for Bluetooth connectivity, buy the bundles that have the dongle. And you know what? If you've already purchased a Plantronics Voyager something and you didn't buy the dongle, don't worry. We have that available. You'll see it in our carousel. I think it's about $50 or $55. I'll tell you, it makes a world of difference.
It sure does, Dave. And speaking of carousel, we've got the Voyager Focus 2 on our carousel. If you happen to be watching us on Amazon, Dave, you've got that highlighted for the folks that are watching on Amazon for us.
Yep.
So that we'll take a moment here to also let you know we've got these in stock. We have these available. Something you should know if you're looking at headsets or virtually any tech device that's going in an office or a home office today is that there is very high demand because so many people are working from home today, remotely, some heading back to the office. Others bought devices at the beginning of COVID that weren't appropriate for them, buying and upgrading right now. You've got schools also purchasing technology. So there's high demand for these products. And if you see it available, don't wait to pull the trigger, because things that are available today in a few days tend to go out of stock. It's just supply and demand is really crazy for the past 15 months. And you'd have thought that these big manufacturers would have had this solved. Here's the problem. All of these manufacturers that are making any electronic device like cameras, webcams, headsets, speakerphones, they're all fighting for copper,
Yep.
for copper cables, for circuit boards, for silicone, for glass. We just learned last week from a high-level Poly executive that glass is also a hot commodity for these lenses, for webcams and cameras and such. And so all of these manufacturers fighting for it makes this kind of situation that we have today, which is that some products are available, some are not going to be available for a while still, and some will come in and out of stock. So if you happen to like what you're seeing, it resonates with you, I highly advise it. And you have a bunch of folks here at Global Tech that can help you if you need help on that journey to make
You know
a
what,
decision.
Rolando? That brings up an interesting point that I want our viewers to understand. As I spoke with someone yesterday that had a question about battery life. Said that they really love a particular Poly headset. It was the 5200 series, and said that they've been buying renewed headsets through eBay and Amazon and just through other places from other
Interesting.
vendors. And his question to me was, how long can a product sit on the shelf where the battery isn't being affected, type of thing? And I said, well, because of the popularity of the products and like everything that you're saying, they're flying off the shelf. The products are not sitting at all. When it's new product from Global Tech Worldwide, they're manufactured from Plantronics, they're sent to a distributor, and we sell it to you, the end user. And I bet that all happens within a matter of probably less than 3 weeks. This stuff is not sitting on a shelf collecting dust, waiting for somebody to order. They're being
Certainly
built,
not on our
shipped,
shelves.
and shipped. So really what that means is you're getting the freshest bread in town when you're buying from Global Tech Worldwide.
I like that analogy, man. Makes me want to go run out and get some French bread and put a little butter on it and maybe a little jelly bread. Can you tell I'm hungry because I didn't have a ton to eat. I tend to eat just a little bit before we do these things. Otherwise, I feel like, oh my, I feel too relaxed, and I want to feel amped for our podcast. So just a little bit of hunger is good for me, so I can stay alive.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I had a bagel for the first time today for breakfast. What a waste, man. You get like 50 or 60 carbs, like first thing in the morning. It just happened to be there. So stupid. I wish I hadn't done that.
You know what? All of this stuff is, so if you're watching us as of today, as of June 22nd, this whole podcast thing is fairly new to us. And we're learning as we go. So if you have comments and feedback, we're really open to that. Anything we could do to improve the show, let us know. Yeah, hit all the bells and the whistles and buttons, all that good stuff, because we want to hear from you, because hearing from you informs us on where to go. You know, maybe we're heading in the right direction with some of the things. Maybe we're not. Maybe you'd like to see some new stuff. Let us know. And that's how we get better, is by hearing and listening to each other. And we can provide you the best content possible when we can. So Dave, as we move through the Focus 2, there's a couple of more things we want to touch on before we go into the next segment, which is our webcams. I love the webcams, but let's round this out on the Focus 2. We've got, why don't you, Ori, throw up some of the footage there with the dog barking and stuff, so we can talk about some of the other features. There we go. Let's talk about the active noise canceling. So, Dave, people are going back into the office. They're going to be around other people in cubicles, maybe not even in cubicles. I just saw something that I think it was in the Wall Street Journal or maybe the Times, one of those two papers, where they were talking about one of the biggest failures in office design is that whole open office concept, where it was supposed to be great for collaboration, supposed to be great for cooperation,
Yep.
supposed to be great for productivity, and it has not turned out to be that way. And I'm not surprised, especially in places where those open office environments have people very close to each other, where in the past you had those cubicle walls separating noise and sound, at least keeping some of that at bay. And now they're all gone, and every sound out there makes it and bounces and comes at you from all the directions. So I'm not surprised that a lot of people in this article was saying how it's a failure on so many fronts. But it really is hard to concentrate in an office, especially if it's staffed up or you're close together with a bunch of other people and you have no privacy, which was the other thing we're talking about. There's no privacy when those cubicle walls went. So you could see everybody and hear everybody pretty much.
You know, there was a customer that we had done business with 6 months prior to the pandemic. They were in Lexington. They moved from Concord, Massachusetts to Lexington, Massachusetts, which is right next door. Brand new facility, and it was all about the open concept, all about the open concept. And when we were introduced to them, it was specifically because they were anticipating issues just like you're talking about. They had actually they didn't spend their budget money on the acoustic barriers or padding, because when you're in an environment like that, there's if you're using certain materials, it won't create an echo. But they didn't spend the money there, and they were very concerned, and they came to us, and we proposed a solution that had active noise cancellation. They were binaural headsets, good noise canceling microphones, and the pandemic hit right away. They were in two positions. They never really got to experience how these solutions worked in their environment, but they sent the people home. They gave them the headsets that they had procured from us,
Mm-hmm.
and I had said to them, I said, when you return back to the office, you're going to find that you did business with the right people and that we
Mm-hmm.
offered you the right solution, because you're not going to get that. It's going to be such a non-issue that you're not even going to realize why it's a non-issue. But you and I know, because of the products, that it's kind of the product that kind of helped cool down the sound.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's definite. And coming up, yes, well, the webcams. And before we get there, Ori, we want to let people know on this particular aspect that they've talked about on the noise canceling, is that there are two aspects that, and you can go to webcam on the close-up cam on this one. There are two really important things as we were looking at that footage. There's the active noise canceling, which essentially helps block out the world around you, and in the poly, you have the sound coming in on one end. So there's several microphones. The microphones pick up the sound around you and then invert the sound so that you're hearing the essentially the opposite of that in your ear. And that's what Poly calls hybrid active noise canceling. It's a form of active noise canceling, and several manufacturers have it, but they have one that's hybrid, which is slightly different. And I find it slightly better as well because it's doing this hybrid active noise canceling. So you've got that on one end. The other part that's important, especially if you have an open office or you have other people around you, is the noise cancellation on the microphone. And this takes into the account the noise around you and then sends through the microphone. As we were looking at that video, the microphone will route your voice through it while filtering out that background noise. So the person you're talking to hears more of your voice and less of that blender, or very little of it, less of that dog or very little of that dog barking. And because you don't want, Dave, customers to hear conversations where if you're at home, dogs barking,
God.
maybe somebody's in the kitchen cooking, or you're back in the office and you've got conversations going on around you, and particularly when you're in maybe a health related field or finance related field or some other field where those kinds of personal conversations should never make it into the conversation with the
Mm.
person you're talking to,
Yeah,
because there may be privacy concerns, and you don't
of
want
course.
some of that stuff to bleed in, and you want a good, high quality microphone, and this is what the Poly Voyager Focus 2 does very well. And that's one of the reasons I like it, because it also does a great job of keeping some of that background noise at bay. So your customers, clients, or other colleagues you're talking to is just hearing your voice rather than all that other distraction.
Yeah, Rolando, I mean, when someone asks you, if you call up your financial institution and they want to pull up your information and they're asking for your social security number and your date of birth, your account number, it's always nice to feel like that person's in a closed door setting. No one else can hear it.
Absolutely.
But if you were talking to someone in that same environment, you call up your bank and you're hearing someone else's conversation and someone else's social security number, you're not going to feel very confident with the people that you're doing business with. So that noise canceling in the microphone is so important, so that you're not perceived as someone that doesn't care about the security of your customer, your client's personal information. So a good microphone array with noise cancellation is
Like this one.
always,
Yeah.
it's always important. It's important to be heard. It's not important for the people on the left and right of you to also be pulling into the mic and being sent through.
Right. And Dave, along that, if if there are organizations that do take this particular headset with them to the office or deploy them remotely, I think that we'd also want to let folks know that are in charge of getting these headsets for other people know that there are ways to maintain this and have asset tracking. Poly makes a free app called the Poly Lens app. This particular app will allow you to manage the device. It will allow you to push firmware updates. It's a PC based app so that you can do much, much more. We have, if you go to our YouTube videos, we have a Poly Lens. It's about a 20-minute video. It goes through all the features. There's so many features on this Voyager Focus 2 that you can customize and adjust just to your needs. I'll give you an example of one. If you want to prolong the battery talk time, there's a feature that will take the it's the HD voice or HD audio feature and convert that down to narrow band so it consumes less battery from your phone. And it also conserves the battery on the headset itself. Now, I tend to use that mostly with my desktop connected right to my computer, so I don't have to worry about it. I can just drop it right in the charger. So our Poly Lens video will do that. Secondly, for those folks that are deploying a bunch of, let's say 50 or more, even 10 or more, there's a cloud-based management service called the Poly Lens service that allows you to remotely deploy these and then now push updates to the headset so that you get health status. You know, how cool is it that you can have that visibility? Because many headsets that are out there, if you're an organization, you've got lots of these deployed, you want to know where they're at. You want to know the health status. So you know how to maintain these, what needs repair, what needs to be serviced. The cloud-based management app allows you to do that. And if you need help with that, we're here to help you. Global Tech can help you so that you can get this this enterprise level cloud-based management service deployed so that you have a much easier time, because that's probably for IT managers or for folks in charge of this product, as well as other these devices. That's the one thing they tend to say is, I need visibility. I need to do asset tracking. I need to know if it's in good health or bad health or whatever. I need to replace it. You don't really have that. So these devices have become more intelligent. They've become more intelligent over the last 15 to 16 months. So there's some vast improvements made on the part of Poly to make this a lot easier to manage. And the Poly Lens service lets you do that. And the last thing I think we want to touch on here, Dave, when we're talking about this, is that this comes in two flavors. You can get the Voyager Focus 2, and it will come without the charging stand, and that it'll be a little cheaper. So if you don't want a dedicated charger, and this is used as a USB charging, so the cable, let me put that. That's what that looks like. So you just plug that into your computer, and it'll charge. Or if you want to plug it into a USB hub, you'll just plug it there and it'll just charge your computer. It'll charge your headset. Now, if you don't want the stand, it comes without the stand. So you just get this with a USB cable in the box, along with a travel. And you see a travel pouch And that's what you get if you get that by yourself. Otherwise, you come with the charging stand. And just to let you know, the charging stand only charges. It does not send audio from the device to the computer via the charging stand. It's just for charging purposes. No audio at all there. Dave, anything you wanted to add on the Focus 2?
Listen, if you've already purchased a Focus 2, or if you've purchased another Bluetooth headset with a dongle, you've now returned back to the office and you're asking yourself, how can I connect this to my desk phone? Give us a call. We have the solution. I can highlight one of the ways that you could fix that. It's a simple device. It's from Poly. It's called the MDA 220. Basically, what this is an external hub that will allow you to plug a USB device into the front of it. It could be a dongle. It could be a corded headset. And then on the back of this is a phone connection that you can go right into a headset jack on just a standard office desk phone. There's also a USB connection, which can go into a PC. There's a toggle in the front. But if you've already invested in these products, and we're going to do a special episode on this, Rolando, because you know what?
And I'm showing the folks while you're talking about it.
So I've done some testing here. This thing is going to maximize your investment. You've been at home. You've learned that a headset is a tool that you want. It might not be the exact one. You can still upgrade to something else. But if you really like that headset that you were using at home, you come back into the office, talk to us. This will work with your desk phone. You just need to know how. You just need to be working with the right folks.
Right. And there are a lot of folks, like you said, Dave, that went out during the beginning of COVID and got just about any Bluetooth device they could get, and not realizing that maybe I didn't know who after a month we had no idea we're going to be here 15, 16 months later, still stuck at home for some of us. But folks are returning to the office, which is a great thing, seeing people in person. And now people are asking the question, well, what about that device that I bought on Amazon or on some other website? Can I use it in the office? The answer is yes. And we'll add an asterisk to that because there are some limitations here. But if you have a Bluetooth device made by one of the bigger manufacturers, that would be Plantronics, Poly, Sennheiser, EPOS, and I'm missing one. Am I missing one?
Maybe
Dave?
Logitech.
And it may be Logitech as well. As long as they have a Bluetooth dongle, you can take that Bluetooth dongle with this adapter, plug it right in here, and now you can connect it to your phone as well as your computer. The simple toggle of these buttons right here. And if you have more questions on that, we'd love to talk to you. We'd love to show you how that works. We have that available on our Amazon carousel right now for those folks that want to get it. And as always, you'll find that in the box, you're going to get a bonus from us. And a lot of times it's going to be this microfiber, Dave, because a lot of folks wear glasses like myself.
Yep.
Or maybe they want to be able to clean their device, maybe their mouse or keyboard or whatever. That's in the box for you as a Global Tech customer. So a little bonus there.
Yeah. So again, like and subscribe. We're gonna put out some nuggets of information that specifically revolve around maximize the investment that you've already made for a work at home solution. How do you get it to work when you get back into the office? We have the information, we have the solutions for you. So like, subscribe, all those things so you can stay connected with us.
Hey, let me help you, Dave. You got to like and subscribe and hit all the bells and whistles and the button.
You do it better than me. And now. And now.
and now. Do it now. All righty. So now let's talk about the webcams, because everybody knows that if you were part of this lockdown experience over the last 15 to 16 months, you've probably put on a video with somebody who probably didn't have the best video. And some people have good video, and you're wondering, why? Is it an internet connection? In some cases, yes, the internet connection does contribute to better quality video. But if everything is equal, I have a high-speed connection, I have a laptop, and I've got something else that's maybe a webcam, how can I get the best video quality possible? Not all webcams are created equal. And as part of our duty and obligation to those people watching and our customers as well, if we're really trying to improve the experience for those folks that are wanting to use webcams, Dave, we want to make sure that they have the right information to make a good decision. And Poly came out with a webcam. They didn't really have a budget friendly webcam until just recently, really the pandemic. Uh, and not only is it in the price range that's very friendly for business folks, but they came in with features that are very nice to have as a business user, as a traveler. Now, the images that you've been seeing on this table here with the blue background, those are all from the Poly P5. And the Poly P5 is their entry level model that does quite a bit that we don't find in other webcams. Let me tell you. Why don't we roll some of that footage with yeah, there we go. Let's go the listing. So the P5. Let's start off with that. The listing. So it's an under $200 webcam. So with that, you're going to get an exceptionally great video in this price point for something that can deliver in low light conditions. I have a story that I've told, and I'll tell it real quick. I was at a class reunion. That was a virtual one, and I changed the video feed because they were highlighting people that were on there, like a Zoom type thing. And I changed and I put that P5 on there. And I kid you not, Dave, for about an hour, they kept spotlighting my video during this, and as they kept rotating it. And prior to that, I was just using my MacBook um, with just a native webcam that's built in. And it turns out that the virtual DJ wanted to have nice video, and there weren't a lot. And he just kept showing the video of me just kind of goofing around, jumping around, during our virtual class reunion. And it really sold me. I was like, sold. If other people are validating that this is good amongst, and there was hundreds of people on there, then there's something to it. So we did some further tests so that we could show people exactly what's going on and give them a side-by-side comparison on how good this P5 is at especially at this price point. So P5, let's show the folks the comparison, the head-to-head. So what this looks like when you use a laptop versus a P5. Looking at the P5 webcam, and with this webcam, what we're trying to look for are how it performs under several different light conditions. Now, the low light condition seems to be one of the most interesting ones that I've found so far, where it actually picks up that light and is showing very true colors. And what we're looking at here on the left is the video of the P5, and on the right, we're using the MacBook to show you these images. And a couple of things really stand out, and you have to kind of look at this a little bit closely to notice what's going on. The color on this cap is truer on the image on the left. The image on the right is blue. But if you're also looking what's around me, the actual resolution and what this picture looks like, it looks much clearer on one of these two screens. And that would be on the left is the P5, on the right is the MacBook. And it's much, much more grainy. As I'm looking at the monitor on this, I see a lot more noise, or I guess that's the technical term, noise, as I'm talking to you and looking at the monitor. A couple of other things stand out is the colors behind me. As I look at this backdrop, this gray is actually a gray color. On the P5, it is showing up on my monitor as the right and accurate color. On the Apple side, this backdrop behind me, this gray, does not seem to represent the right color of gray. And if you look at behind me on the white, you can actually see the white on the P5 webcam stands out a lot more than on the Apple. It's not as white, it's a little darker, almost a little bit of yellow in there. All right. Well, that's the actual comparison. So a MacBook next to the actual P5 webcam. And what also stood out to me was how the detail on the objects behind me. You could just see that. Go back to, so you could just have it as B-roll, Ori. You can see that if you look at, stop it right there with the plants. There we go. So my left hand you can see that plant behind me. So if you have to show objects, if maybe you're in a demo room, maybe you're in a retail location, you're showing off your products, and you've got customers that now, because of the COVID, you've got customers from around the world or from outside your local geography that you're selling to, and you want to show those objects as clearly as possible. Maybe you want a webcam that's under $200. This is the one that's going to do it. So from a static point of view, just looking at those images, and you could see that even on the image on the left, I had I had to go press those drapes. I did not realize until after we shot this video that those drapes were so wrinkled. But that's how good the lens on this P5 is. It'll pick up those details. So if you're really trying to highlight products with others, as you can see as I'm touching the phone there, that phone looks a lot clearer with the image on the left, which is the P5, Dave, versus the other image on the right, which is the native MacBook.
Yeah, for sure, Rolando. And I think you actually helped the MacBook image look better. Most people that are using their embedded cameras on their laptops, they're not elevating that up. So when you're using a
Yep.
P5, you have the ability, you can mount it up a little bit higher. You can tell from the listing that it has kind of a unique way that it would set up on the
Yep.
on a laptop or a monitor, excuse me. But most people, in my experience, when they're using their embedded stuff,
Hmm.
they're leaning over it. It's shooting up at them.
Right.
It's not a very flattering
It's a
angle.
very
You're
unflattering
seeing,
angle.
you're seeing a ceiling with the background. It's just amateur hour, you know. It is, your face is so important if you care about how you come across.
Yeah, and then
All right.
we're showing the shot of the two different. This is the MacBook, and you can see how much darker the image is.
Yeah.
And this one is so there is no trickery in light, believe it or not. It looks that way, but all we did was just turn on the camera for the MacBook and then turn on the camera for the P5, the Poly P5. And what we did here is it's in this same location that I'm talking to you right now. The only difference that we did for that test was turn off essentially the studio lights, as I'll call it, the two lights that I have here in front of me, and just had the light that's just normal lighting in the house for my office, so that we could replicate the real life conditions. And one of the things that we noticed, you said something this, and it really caught my attention, was that we don't, even with this image right here, freeze it for a moment. With this image right here that you're looking at, there's no ring light. I'm not using a ring light. And a lot of people today, I didn't even know what that meant over a year ago. But there is no ring light. There is all that is the light above me and the light that's coming off the monitors, and that's sufficient enough to light up my face. Now the P5, the Poly P5 webcam will allow you to also customize. So if maybe you're feeling that the colors are too saturated, or whatever, this comes with a way to customize it. You need help with that, just give us a call. We'll help you. But there is no ring light. And then the same thing, the exact same scenario. And it's hard to believe, Dave. It's hard to believe that I didn't turn off the lights, but that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened. The lighting conditions are the same. And that's why we have the side by side as well, to show our folks, folks watching this, yeah, it looks that dark. It looks that dark when you're using the MacBook, and the colors aren't as true. But wanted to give you a close up of that so you could see what that actually looks like. And I'm amazed, Polly. You did a great job, Polly folks, probably the whole team of folks that worked on this to put this type of technology into a webcam under $200.
Oh, I know. And listen, if you're going to buy a cheaper webcam and a ring light, I just want to let everyone know I've been exposed to ring lights before. You're not going to have, you won't be able to have an hour-long meeting staring at that ring light. It does affect your eyes. If you're prone to migraine headaches, flashes, and things like that, that ring light is ultra distracting. I'm sure that by the time you buy a cheap camera and a cheap ring light, the experience is going to be so much better here with the P5. Just worry about the camera. It's
Right.
travel friendly. You're not going to pack up the ring light and all that other stuff if you're going out to on site. Who knows what you do, but that ring light is not a wonderful solution. This is the way you do it. You buy it like You buy a well-engineered product like the P5.
Right. And Dave, a lot of people that are going back to the office, they're not bringing back ring lights, right?
Hope
So
not.
if you're going to be using this in your office, and a lot of office just uses a lot of that overhead fluorescent lights, you want something that's going to show you off or your products in the best light. And what we're looking at here is an actual demonstration of the P5 on a close-up of a product. So this is the other really cool thing about this. You can actually take the camera off the mount, and what you're looking at is a super close-up image of a remote control, which I'll show you here in a moment, along with a surgical knife. And you can actually, so that gives you some perspective on how close this can zoom in and zoom in very clearly. So if you're into manufacturing, maybe you're doing lecturing, maybe you're doing telehealth, and you need to get in and zoom in on really close objects and show those objects in really good sharp. You can see, stop it there, Ori. You see the word stainless on this surgical knife. I've used this to cut little objects in the past. I never knew that that's what that was on there until I saw this footage. That's what the word that was on there. So it could show things very close up, and as you can see, it's a very sharp image. It's not blurry. It's not grainy. As I look at the footage here, the black on the remote control, so the black level is showing is very accurate. The color of the actual metal, you see some reflection from the light above, which is the yellow light in the ceiling, the light bulbs, but you get to see the actual color as it is. And again, for something that's under $200, I'm really amazed that you're able to get this kind of resolution without the picture just distorting and pixelating. So
And you know what, if you were using that, if your solution was something else with a ring light and you needed to show an up close image like that, your ring light's now not being used. And if it's a cheapo camera, it's not going to have necessarily that resolution, but it's not going to adapt to that low light setting. For
that's
folks
right.
that are thinking about video, it's not just about video conferencing. Rolando talked about it. Contract manufacturing is a big part of it. You have the engineers on this side of the world, you have the people that are doing the manufacturing on the other side of the world. They're building something for their client. How nice to be able to have a device like this so you can show up close and personal those very small components and how they come together. It's video should continue to gain popularity with adoption because it's such a minor investment to increase your productivity, and that's really what it's all about.
I,
Making your
I
life easier, getting the job done right. And if you're in manufacturing, any little it'll speed up the process to finish the job for
Absolutely.
the client.
Absolutely, Dave. I thought of one the other day where images really matter, and that's really taken off since COVID. Real estate. How many people have been buying homes virtually and online?
Yeah.
And what you want to do is be able to see the things that you're looking at in its best representation. And if you're a real estate agent or a company that has realtors that are out there, maybe using their smartphone for pictures or using their smartphone for video, this is a much better way to show off different parts of that home. Whether it's a home that's it's a low on the lower end or even the higher end, you could get to see those drapes. You could get to see the detail on that stove or in the backyard or wherever your clients want to you feel it's important. But I would imagine that folks that are trying to show off, and that's usually a big purchase, a home, right, is usually the biggest purchase you're going to make in your life for a lot of people. Why not show that in the best way possible? And I know through looking at many listings for houses, sometimes the listing you're looking at, the colors don't kind of look, when you go in person, you see it online, they don't kind of line up. But this would help folks in real estate, in education, in documents. I want to show something here. Here we go. Let's look at this. We've got a lineup of different items. So you can see I've got here a quick start guide. So you can see it says quick start guide, and I'm not even holding this guide up as close as possible. I'm just letting it sit here on the table. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to bring it up close so you can see. You can read that quick start guide. Let me open that up. Right, so if you were doing any kind of instructional learning, you could use this with ease. You could show people the instructions. Let me show you here. There we go. Let it adjust. Download. Hold on. I gotta get it right. Oh, I can go closer. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Ori, for being in my ear. Look at that.
Yeah, nice.
So you can read those. Now, what I want to do is, I'm gonna grab. Let's say I'm a professor, Dave. Professor, and I've got a lecture hall, or now a virtual lecture hall. Let me grab the right pen here. Right, and I'm giving out instructions to my students. I don't know. Let's do some math. There we go. 2 + 2 = 4, right? So if you're doing math, maybe you're teaching kids, maybe you are doing something else where you need to show documents with folks, this is a very easy way to do it. And with the Poly P5, it comes with the ability for you to take it off the mount. And that's why I'm doing this example here. It comes with this mount, right? So this is the top of the mount, and you would put the P5 here. It's magnetic. So right now what I've done is just taking it off the mount, and it's on this tripod here. You can't really see it. Maybe if you go to the studio shot, you can show folks. There we go. Here's the P5. It's sitting connected to the tripod, and it's pointing down at this blue felt that I have here to show you what the products look like. And so if you need to have a camera that is mounted somewhere where it's just a still camera for you to do documents, maybe you're doing content creation, or you're showing off products, you can put it on a tripod, or these kind of mounts that'll have to the table. And if you're curious about that, send us a comment. I'll be glad to share that with you. There's nothing proprietary about that, and I'd love to help you out on that. But essentially, you could show your documents, right? And you're collaborating, or maybe you're providing instructions to folks, and then just, you could see that it does a really good job of keeping that. And I don't even have the lights really pointed down on this the way I would normally do if I were going to do instructions, but I just want to show you, you could still see that. And if I have other objects in here that I'm trying to use as my example, it still keeps those in focus. It keeps my documents in focus. So nothing really has changed. Nothing is blurry. You can see it says Poly, right? So you could see things very clearly while you're giving instructions. Or if you're pointing out things to colleagues, or we're talking about, let's see, the MDA, we're talking about that product, right? You could show people, okay, this is such and such product, and it has these ports on the back, and it's got this, and that, blah, 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 blah. So if you wanted to make a video, like a Loom video, or even on your Zoom or something like that, you can point things out, and they're very visible. Now you can bring it up. There we go. Let's see, you can make out the back, and you could see on this, let me move my microphone while I talk to you here. This is what Dave was talking about earlier. This is really a cool device for those heading back, and I'm going to move it a little even closer. There we go. You could see the letters on the back. These letters are for different phone settings as well. Here you can see these are for microphone settings. These are for volume settings. So there's a number of things you could see, and we can even show you the icons that are on the bottom of this particular product, of the MDA 200. So this is a very versatile device that you can use with any phone out there. You use a Cisco phone, a Mitel phone, a Yealink phone, virtually any phone out there that is a major brand that's sitting on in an office desk. You can use it today with that Bluetooth dongle, and that's what I've plugged in here in the front. You can see it. You can read the word Plantronics on that dongle. So I showed this to you to see what you could do. There's many, many more applications that you can use this P5 for. But needless to say, it's a great, great device at the price point, especially if you are in the business of doing business. Dave?
In the business of doing business. Listen, video is such an important aspect to it, being the visual. We have We have all of these senses. The visual piece when we're communicating on the phone, it's you have an opportunity to incorporate video at a low price. This is really going to help with whatever you're doing out there, and it's going to help with Rolando and I when we start really pushing this MDA 220, showing people how they can take that headset that they already bought, bring it into the office. We're going to do some master classes. We're going to spend some specific time just on this. You know what? Even doing one-on-ones. You know, I'm thinking about our technical support team, Rolando.
Right.
Once people are buying more of these MDA 220s and they're coming in, they're calling into our team. It's like, give them a link, show them how it's done. I don't want to give our competitors too much of our secret sauce, but
They're
we
watching.
will.
That's all right.
Yep,
Welcome to our show if you're watching.
that's right. East Coast to West Coast.
That's right. We welcome all. We'll share the knowledge so that you can look as good as us. We're poking a little fun today at those folks that like watching our content and then reusing it. But if like Dave said, we're here to help you out, make sure that what you're getting is going to work for you. Because we want happy customers. We don't want customers that get stuff that's really not right for them. So that's kind of the way we look at things. And so as
Rolando, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I cut you off mid thought. I was going to transition. So
no, me too. We're hitting the same way.
So the personal video solution, the P5, you could probably use that with small groups. It's really marketed and designed for, that personal user. Poly has added another product into their video solution portfolio. This is the P15 video and sound bar. Is that what they're calling it, Rolando?
Yeah, the video bar. Because if we were to just talk about it in what it is, it's a webcam on massive steroids. It's really what this is, but it's a video bar. That's what Poly calls it. It does a lot of stuff. I'm putting it on the table here, and it looks a little intimidating because you go like, whoa, that is much bigger than what I thought you were going to show me. But before we get into all the particulars here, Dave, and showing this here, let's show the folks on what this is, what it does, how does it stack up? Because what you want to know is if I got to buy this, well, why should I upgrade from my current laptop or my current webcam? So you ask, we would deliver. Ori, let's go. Before we go there, let's do a listen up because you'll want to use this with headphones so you can hear things much clearer, much better. So if you have the opportunity to go grab some headphones, go ahead and grab those. And we're going to show you a video that shows you the difference in audio and video compared to other solutions. So go ahead, roll that listen up. Woo! Love it. All right, so let's roll with the video of the comparison of the P15 to the other products out there. We're taking 3 different cameras, a Mac, a window, and the Poly 15. We're going to see which one of these 3 has the best video and audio quality. All right, here we go. Science. All right, science. So who that's watching us today can tell us? Raise your hands, class. I see you virtually. Be nice. Be nice. Ted? No, Ted. Be nice. All right, over here, what we need is a tight shot. Why don't you go over here? Get in tight. All right, awesome. All right, team. Here we go. This is a play we're gonna run during the Super Bowl. I want everybody to huddle up, and then I want the center to be out over here. I want you to hike the ball, okay? All right, man. The Super Bowl is on the line. Protect Tom Brady at all costs. That's how we win. That is the equation that we need to get to more sales, okay? Winning, bandwidth, smiles. Everybody got it? Good. Morale's a little low. I want everybody at the office tomorrow, and I want you to bring your pet. Okay? I don't care what pet it is. Dog, cat, bring your pet. The next thing we want you to do is make sure they have clothes on. All right, clothes. Hey everybody, it's Chef Ro here today. And what we got today, What the Tech is bringing you a brand new coffee coming to your shelves. It's What the Tech Super Premium Extra caffeinated, hyper caffeinated coffee. This is the coffee you need to start your day. If you don't have this coffee to start your day, you can't think, you can't do things right, you can't think. And what you want is when you're out working on your spreadsheets, that you have the best coffee possible in your cup. That's why I fully endorse What the Tech. What the Tech Super Premium Coffee. Get it today. I love that. You know what I just noticed? I know we've seen this particular footage a few times. If you go back, I don't know, somewhere in the middle, you will see in when it's the shot of the right there, freezer right there. You can't make this out too well, Dave, but where it says Studio P15, my dog's right there, my
Oh
foot.
yeah,
She's like, wherever I go, sometimes she's like follows me. I just realized she's in the shot there. I
but you
wasn't.
didn't see her in the other
I
ones.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't see her in the other ones, and I just noticed that now, and I remember that I shot some other stuff that day, but she was right there, like a pupil. Like, what are you talking about? Who are you talking to? There's nobody here. But what you get to see here in this footage is that you see that the field, the perspective, the view that you get is much wider on the P15. Something else that's important to notice about the P15 is when you see these shots of the zooming in and the zooming out, there is nobody there in my kitchen there that day of it's the camera. It has a setting that allows you to zoom in and zoom out, and it does it intelligently, Dave. So it's like a pan tilt zoom built in with some AI, artificial intelligence for a virtual director that can actually zoom in and zoom out, and that's a setting that you can control. You can toggle that on and off, but as you can see right there, it just zooms out. It did it. I guess it's based on me being in the frame, or me moving, so it's capturing the motion. So if you are doing collaboration, you're showing off a product, you are again, maybe you're doing lectures and you need to show this board. Maybe I played football, and so that's why I go back to the Tom Brady thing. That was in there because if you have to show this kind of stuff virtually, and you have folks that are not in the same room, or it can't be in the same room, this allows you to show those plays off. Literally, we draw plays on the board, and the center does this, and the receiver does that, and and you go back and forth, and you draw several times on the board. And I just kind of wanted to show a little bit of that because I wanted to see if it captured all of that. And it does, and it's amazing how this camera, it's a step up from the P5, but if you need these kind of capabilities, as well as this has a much improved microphone array built in, and we can go into the tight shot on this so we could talk about that. You've with this P15, you're gonna get. Let me show you what's under the cover here, because I like doing this myself. Look at what you get, Dave. Let me just take that off of there. You get
Good stuff in
look at
there.
that. Look at that speaker. So you get audio from this thing like you won't believe. And you have built-in microphones and sensors, and they do several things. First off, let's talk about this shutter. You see I shut it closes, and it opens. So you know exactly when the video images are coming through.
Mm-hmm.
Built in. No need to put a sticky tape. I think you said that the other day. No need for any more sticky tape. Those days are over with. You just close, open, and close. There we go. Open and close. Awesome. On the back, or I should say on the bottom, you have 2 extra USB ports. So if you needed to connect other devices that you want to run, because this is going to use a USB-C. So this uses USB-C to connect to your computer. So just keep that in mind. A USB-C connection. It's got a power, and it's got this little hole here where you put the mount, and you can also mount this on a tripod. It's the standard mount that you would use for a tripod. So you've got your power, USB-C going into the computer, and it comes with 2 additional USB ports, which is kind of cool. I don't know of many webcams that have the USB ports included. so that you can connect other devices. And so I'll just turn it around. So on the back, it just says Poly. But what you get is an amazing piece of hardware. And then you combine that with the Poly Lens software. And I'll just bring this close up so you could see the lens on there. You can see the sensors. It's got an amazing technology called acoustic fence. Dave, let's talk about the acoustic fence, because this is something that's for folks that may be in an environment where it may be a little noisy around them.
Yeah. So it's important just to throw this out there again. Poly, these guys, these engineers are specialized in video and audio. What they've created here is an acoustic fence. I love the name because it just kind of explains what it does. Depending on your work environment, you have the participants, but you might still be in some sort of an open air environment. Maybe the door is left open. What the acoustic fence does is it literally is it's creating an invisible barrier so that if you are outside of that fence, your audio as you walk by that meeting and you're chatting with a coworker is not going to find its way into the video call itself. So it's a type of noise cancellation, but to keep, again, that background noise from outside of the fence from getting into the call. I've seen some pretty awesome demos that Poly has done with that. I don't know if they coined the term, but if they did, it's a fantastic name. Acoustic fence. But as an all-in-one solution, Rolando, I mean, you don't need the external microphones, you don't need external speakers. It's all in one from $500 to $600. You had mentioned the Poly Lens, so it's important for the viewers to understand that when you're investing in technology like this, I mentioned these engineers, these video and audio engineers at Poly, they'll continue to make this product better. There's firmware updates that I'm sure will be coming down the road, and as a customer of theirs, you can get these upgrades, these firmware updates at no additional cost. You can do that from if you own the unit and you're the only one that has one, you can do that yourself. But also, if you're part of an organization where there's a team of people that support the PCs, the laptops, the phones, the cameras, the headsets, PolyLens is this remote management software so that you can push updates to these devices, not just the cameras, but everything that's new within the Poly portfolio, you can control at the comfort of your office, and you can see everything that's out there. Rolando and I are going to be doing some special episodes on that, and it's very interesting analytical data that's going to help maximize that investment. Long rant, but I think that sums it up.
No, well summed, Dave. And I think that's worth just echoing a little bit more, that on the Poly Lens, because this is a device that's about $600 for this webcam. And if you've got several of these out there, just like if you have the P5 deployed, or even we talked about the Voyager Focus 2 earlier, the Poly Lens cloud-based service allows you to have visibility into that, so if anything's not working, where these are located. So there's an asset tracking capability. So large organizations where you have many of these, I would love to know if you have other webcams, doesn't matter, do you have the ability to see where those webcams are located? Because if you've got lots of these and they go missing, then your organization could see lots of money just flowing out the door, and not having visibility can hurt. So this is a really good thing for those organizations that want to have the ability to do the asset tracking. We want you to go to the P15 page on our Amazon store there. We're highlighting the P15 again. It's the webcam by Poly. We've got images and video there that you can also see. We have these in stock. And as we were talking about this earlier, Dave, these are quite hot because of the demand for video and learning environments and remote learning and back to the office. People want to use good quality video in their home offices, as well as in their offices that they're going back to. Actually, you know what we should do? Now we're talking about remote learning. We were talking a couple of months ago with Sam from Poly about this because one of the things that we wanted to understand was, is this a trend or is this a fad? Are people going to stay at home, and then the offices are going to open back up and everybody's back to normal? And we've been learning over the last few weeks and months just now that a lot of organizations are looking at some kind of hybrid way of doing things. Some are going to be fully remote. If you're looking at Twitter, for example, Microsoft is allowing their people to work remotely from anywhere in the world. Some organizations are just not there yet, Dave, and they're evolving. And I think from what Sam told us, it looks like the remote piece is here to stay, and workers are demanding that as part of just not perk. They just want to be able to work that way now, and I think that's going to become the norm. And I think you're going to see more employers who are not there yet or evolve to that position where they're going to allow that flexibility for remote work. And if you have to do remote work or remote learning, you want to go ahead and showcase that the best way possible. So why don't we roll it to Sam, who sat down and spoke with us not too long ago and touched on this topic.
Is there's a lot of verticals. It's not just people working. I spend some of the biggest growth that we've seen over the last 12 months is learn from home. I mean, the amount of, I have two kids that right now, hopefully my internet's good because I had two kids upstairs that they're in class right now. And so they're remote learning, and that's going to be here to stay, at least on some form. They've taught now, again, it's in their blood now to be able to do this. You can't tell them, hey, I need to be in class every day, or when they go to college that they have to be in class. So the idea of remote video and collaboration, communication, learning, healthcare, all of these different things, absolutely, it's here to stay for forever now.
Forever. I missed that the first couple of times. Forever. I agree with him. I don't know who wants to go back to the days, and I've got tons of comments from posts that I've made over the last couple of weeks about remote work, of lots and lots of workers saying they'd rather find jobs somewhere else that is going to give them the ability to do remote working than those places where they can't. And in April, the Bureau of Labor and the Department of Labor came out with some statistics and found that in April, it was the highest number of voluntary quits, like employees quitting and going somewhere else than they've seen in years. And I think there's a shift happening. And we want to let those know, that those folks that are business owners or employers or managers, if you have employees, it really behooves you to really understand where the tidal wave of change is going. And everybody that is in this community of not just technology, but in HR, they're talking about a huge shift. And it is already happening, Dave, where workers want to stay at home if they have the opportunity to. Maybe to take care of a loved one and work, take care of an older a parent, even. Folks our age, are taking care of older people, maybe to be able to have some daycare, any number of reasons. Maybe the kid is sick, and having the ability to work from home because they can't find a babysitter is a good thing.
Yeah. I have six people that are very close in my life right now that are all interviewing for new jobs.
Wow.
And it's because the return to work, these some of the managers and the bosses are saying they're going back to the old school mentality of, no, we can't, no, working remotely is not gonna happen. If we have a snowstorm and if you have to, that's fine, but no, that's not part of our culture. And they're all six of these people that I'm thinking about, they are looking outside for new opportunities because the mentality of those managers, they're not coming here into 2021. They're still out in the early 2000s. They still want to hold on to the fact that it might not be possible. The tools might not be available. The tools have been available for 21 years. Mm-hmm. The networks are more capable than ever. But if you're an old school manager and if you're worried about employee retention, if you're going to put up a wall about remote working, then your competitors are going to scoop up those people really fast.
I can't agree. I can't agree even more. I mean, April back the numbers in the voluntary quits was as high as it's been in. I don't. I can't remember the statistic, but it's high. It's been in years, and people have. And there was a Bloomberg actually. I posted this a while back ago. There was a Bloomberg survey of 1,000 employees. 39% said they'd rather quit than go back to the office full time, and I wouldn't blame you if you have to commute every day 45 minutes to an hour. Why would you want to do that and sit in traffic? It's great to listen to podcasts. I listen to podcasts. I like self-education, but on average, that works out to 12 to 15 hours a week as a worker that you're not getting paid. And as an employer, you're not really getting anything from the employee when they're sitting in the car or in a train or a bus getting to work, to and from work. So it really is a great benefit to an organization to have remote working for employees. And if you're going to do remote working, why not have the right tools and that are readily available today? And so I want to encourage you, if you're a decision maker in your field or a manager or a business owner, if you have the opportunity to give that type of working environment for your employees, to do so. And we want to help you on that end when you go in that direction so that they have the right tools so they can get the job done. Dave, anything else that we want to say on the P15?
Listen, this thing's amazing for the price, for the functionality, for the future proofing. You want to work with the engineers, with a team like Poly. They know exactly what they're doing. This is not a fly-by-night brand. Pay close attention to what they're doing in the marketplace because their portfolio is super, super strong. And we're going to now explore some of the speakerphone or conference speakers, part of their portfolio, and
That's
also
right.
another.
All right, Dave, thank you. And in this segment, let's give another listen up, Ori. Woo! Hey, in sync. I love it. All right. So, speakerphones, Poly Sync 20. The entry level model is the Sync 20. I love it, Dave. I don't even know what else to say, but I love it. I have it here on the close-up cam. I've been using it. We've done several tests with the 20. This is their entry level model, and it really is a cut above a lot of the other speakerphones on the market. And there's several, and there's many. We've been selling speakerphones for years. I've been using several, and I've got some on the other side of the table that we're going to show in a moment. This one really has they've gone a different route. One, it's waterproof. So you can drop water on it. You know what? I don't want to do it because I'm going to ruin the felt. I'd rather do that outside. I was going to just say, let me show you. I'm going to pour my water on it. We have a video on it, so we'll show that a little bit. But you could take this outside with you. This is one thing that's different from let's start there. I have other devices, which we're going to talk about now. Let me show you. There's other really good products on the market. This is one by Sennheiser, now known as EPOS. This is one by Jabra. The Poly one looks very different. But you can't take these two devices outdoors with you and not expect for them to get ruined. So if you have that need to go outdoors, or like we have folks that are in the construction industry, or maybe you want a device because maybe indoors you have kids that spill things. The PolySync 20 is definitely going to do the job there. You're not going to regret having this device in your hand, and it's made for that. It actually comes with. Let me go over here. Let me go to the close-up. You see right there. It's got a slot. It's got a slot for using a lanyard, and the lanyard comes in the box as well. It, as you can see, it rests very naturally in my hand like a smartphone. And I will applaud them for really taking on this form factor because it's different. The other devices that I just showed you, those are round, and almost all of them are round or some kind of square with rounded edges. This is not. It's got a different look. It's got kind of this denim look on the front. And the sound, we're going to get into the sound in a moment. The sound on this is really good. You hear a lot of lows, and I like listening to pop music. I like listening to Sinatra, Dean Martin. So I listen to a wide variety of music. And when I'm streaming to this device from my mobile or using it with my computer, I find that I get really the best audio for a device at this price point. It's unheard of. Now, Dave, most of these manufacturers, they're selling to business folks like yourself and myself, that business is important to them, and they're using these devices for business applications, talking on Zoom, on Teams. But a lot of what's happening now, especially with more folks that are staying at home, they're finding that these devices not they don't just get used for business purposes, but you use them to listen to your podcast. You listen to, and like I was saying, go outdoors, go on a picnic, go with your kid, or wherever you go. You want something that's going to go with you, and it's not going to break. It's not going to break down, and it's going to deliver you a quality audio experience like maybe on some other consumer grade stuff in the past. So from a business standpoint, for a business product like this to deliver good quality audio for your streaming music or your podcast, that's really good, because for in the old days, everything was just geared for just the business apps like Teams or Zoom or that kind of thing. Not the case anymore with the PolySync 20.
Yeah, and I don't know if BYOD device, bring your own device, is still something that people are talking about in the industry. But for those people that are investing their own money for their business devices, you want it to be able to be something that you can also use for entertainment or activity purposes. This PolySync 20, it's a fantastic design. You have the ability to put a lanyard. I really hate saying that word for some reason. It takes
You
me
don't like
back
the
to
word lanyard?
I hate the word lanyard. It takes me back to working a booth at a trade show, and you got your lanyard on, and you come back to
Yeah.
the office. Some people throw them away. We all know that guy or that girl in the office that collects their lanyards. It's like it,
You
it's
have
not an
some
NFT.
you have some battle scars from the days of going to the trade shows, right?
Yeah,
Where
absolutely. Absolutely. A little PTSD there. And actually, you know what? We're going to take the show on the road, I think, in the future. We'll be doing our own on the road show, and we'll be able to show everybody the miserable trade booth workers are just standing there hoping you come by and sign a piece of
with
paper
their
so you can
lanyards.
get a freebie. And yeah, we'll show them on a lanyard. You know what? This wearing, if you did have now I'm going to take it back. Wearing that around your neck might be a nice way to do a remote podcast. Anyway,
Mm.
I digress. Yeah, I'll tell you, this Sync 20, the design is really cool. It's really cool. The features and the buttons. You have some of the tactile
Right.
buttons on there. You have
Right.
the
Oh yeah. So
programmable
hold on.
rocket
Don't
button.
don't gloss over that, Dave, because I want to actually talk about that. So on this device, you have a Bluetooth button. So if you want to pair it, it's an actual button. So it's very easy. Just press that button, it goes into Bluetooth mode.
Yeah, that's
The other
cool.
thing you have is a dedicated button for power. It's not a virtual button. Let me move it in a little closer. Let's see if we can. There we
There it
go.
is.
So the power button is a dedicated power button. Love that. I absolutely love that. Hold on, let me move my mic over here so I'm a little more comfortable. All right, so you have a power button that's a dedicated power button. Awesome. Dave, let me just tell you something. We didn't talk about this in day one, but day two, I'm not going to forget. This will let you power your own smartphone. So if you're running out of battery, you're running out of juice, this is the only speakerphone today that will power up your smartphone and give it juice.
Yeah, that's
That
nice.
by itself is really cool. You get 20 hours of talk time with this battery. No other product has that much talk time.
And
None.
Rolando, I don't know if you've tested that, but even let's say your phone's at 23%, Michael Jordan, if you had the ability to just connect that into your phone, even if you just maintain the 23%, you're tending your battery on your smart device as you're using this, you're not killing it. It's going to get you through the end of that meeting. Nothing worse than having 2% low battery, and you have more than 2% left of your meeting that you're going through. So yeah, that's really slick feature from Poly.
And here's another, we're talking features. This button right here that looks like a little rocket, you can customize and program it to do several things. What I have it on my phone, I'm sorry, on this Sync 20, I have it to play and pause the music or video. So if I'm listening to a video, I just click that right there. And a lot of
That's
times
cool.
I find myself looking at videos on my computer and I don't want to reach for the mouse or the keyboard or the space bar to put it on pause. I just touch that button. Boop. And it pauses it right where I'm at. And it could also do the same for music. So if I'm listening to music, it'll pause it right there just by pressing that button and it comes right back to life. You've got your volume controls and your mute. So, and if you got this LED status, it always tells you what's going on. So as you're increasing the volume, it gets brighter and brighter as you go on. And when you have a conversation, Dave, when you're using Teams or some other, or maybe you're getting a call on your mobile phone, you have this way of picking up the phone. There we go. You've got a phone button. So it'll answer, and you can see it's kind of, I've been using it, so you can see it's a little dirty, but that's okay. It didn't stop from working. This phone button allows you to answer and disconnect the call.
Yeah,
Really slick. So you don't even have to pick up the phone. You just press that button, and now you're talking through your mobile phone. Actually, your mobile phone call, you get a call through a mobile phone, and you hit that button, it answers it for you. And then just hit it again, and it disconnects.
Poly Sync 20. So tell me, Rolando, I have a couple of extra people in my conference room now. We've returned back to office. Maybe it's a hybrid environment, but now I'm with a couple coworkers. What's an upgrade to the Sync 20?
So the Sync 40, which is the next step up from that, we have some video on that, Ori. So we can put it while I'm talking. So the Sync 40. Okay, so the Sync 40 is the next bigger brother. So this line of products comes in the 20, the Sync 40, the Poly Sync 40, and the Poly Sync 60. Oh, thanks, Ori, for putting that up. That's a great visual. So on the 20 is the personal one, and then slow down. There we go. Here we have the 20 and the 40. So the Poly Sync 20 is on the foreground. The Sync 40, they have the exact same feature set. Now with the 40, you have upgraded audio. You're already getting really good audio on the 20, but the 40 has a built-in bass driver, so you'll hear really much better music. It's hard to believe on the 40 versus the 20, but you get a little bit better, lower sound, lower register. And it is designed for having those. The 40 is designed to be in a room where you can maybe have several individuals that are listening to maybe a conference call, or you guys are on Team or Zoom, and you want other folks to participate during that call. The 40 is better suited for that. It's built for that. As you can see the cutout here, you see that you get some really amazing sound with the speakers that are built in. You can pair it wirelessly together. So if you want what's called daisy chain, where you have a longer table or a particular room where it's a little bit bigger, you can put more than one unit on the table, and it acts as wireless microphones to pick up audio in that room, which is terrific. You don't need to have wires and things running around to a conference room to do that. The 40 gets you that. It's that next step up that you would expect on something that Poly's put together here. But yeah, and then this one you get up to 30 hours hellacious talk time. 30 hours of talk time. I'm not aware of right now of another product that gets you that much on a wireless device that's a speakerphone. It's just
the
insane.
nice thing. You know, the nice thing about having something that's a little bit larger is they can fit larger batteries in there.
Correct.
To give you that additional talk time. You know, so much has changed over the years. This stuff is engineered so well, but they're also engineering it with simplicity in mind. We do business with many people out there that return back to us. They love these solutions because they're not complicated. Now,
Right.
Global Tech Worldwide, we support what we sell. We take a lot of pride in that. But because of that, we're also very selective with the brands that we sell. And we don't get complaints with the Poly stuff because it's so user friendly. They've removed all of these obstacles for deployment, and the end users are certainly recognizing that. So again, hats off to Poly. You guys really knocked it out of the park with this. I'm especially excited for the Sync 60 to come along down the road, and I already know where I want to put that. So,
You've got a place for it, huh, Dave?
but you know what? All jokes aside, it's these guys. I love the look and feel, the buttons, even across the portfolio. This and the camera, the video bar. You'll see the form factor is very familiar.
Yeah, they unified that look. Here, let me
things.
put the 15 right next to it so you can see that. So you've got the 15 here. You've got the 20. And you can see that they have a very similar look and feel. I think that's very intentional. We're going to have Sam on here again in July, and we're going to ask him about that. But it looks that they have a very familiar feel to it. I know that one of the things that he's an advocate of, and I agree with him. And now, so we've got all the 3 devices here. You're probably wondering, well, why would I need all these devices? Well, they all come in handy for different things. And one of the things that we do at Global Tech is if you're starting on this journey, or maybe you're looking to improve how your workers communicate, we can navigate you through these waters. Some of you may just need the 15, nothing else. Some of you, depending on what you're doing, you may need all 3. And for me, I've had all 3 on my desk. But I use them for different things. So there are things that are designed for certain purposes. So if you are looking at this as an ecosystem, the headset is for more privacy. So if you want more privacy in your conversations, this is something that is essential. Even though these 2 other devices are great for video and audio, great audio, maybe you don't want everybody to hear your conversation, because that's what a speakerphone does. That's what the built-in audio inside of this does. It's sending out that audio, so people around you are going to hear that audio. So for those situations where you do need privacy and you don't want others to hear that conversation, you get a Focus 2, and they all work together. It all works well. It works seamlessly. So this is where you would bring in something like this into the equation. One other thing, Dave, that I wanted to point out is on the Sync 20. Let me move the headset out of the way. On the Sync 20, it comes in a couple of different versions. It comes in with a version that comes with the USB dongle as well as without it. And if we've said in the past, you want to improve your audio and you're using Bluetooth, you definitely want to use this and plug it into your computer. It comes in a USB-A and a USB-C. So USB-A, USB-C, and dongle. And let me show you on the back. I forgot to show you. It comes in with a cable so that you can plug it in. You can plug that in to the computer. All right, and it will deliver audio through that cable as well as charge up the device. So this particular way. Now, the 40 comes with the dongle and without. And unlike the 20, this is why you step up. The 40 will give you the USB-A style connector as well as the USB-C. As you can see, this is the A style connector. The C is slightly different. It's a rounded shape. Let me bring this up close to the camera so you can see. That is the A style connector. The A style connector, and the C is a different one on the 20, and it tucks in on the back here. So you can just have it back here. Let me bring my microphone a little closer. That way I'm not struggling. Let me put this guy in here, show you how that works. So it just tucks in the back here.
That's cool. Nice cable management system.
Awesome.
There.
No, it's terrific. They thought of a lot here. And so with the 40, you're going to have an adapter for this. Okay, so you have both connectors in the box. No need to worry about C versus A. It just comes with the connectors. Poly, please make all of these devices C and A with the connector built in. Thank you, Ori, for putting that up. It just makes life a lot easier if you have everything you need in the box. But yeah, the 40 gives you that air. That's what that looks like with the C and A connector built in so that you can use it with whatever computer that you have. No need to worry about ordering the right one. You get it built in. All right. So we've covered the Sync 20, the Sync 40. We talked about the video, the webcams. We talked about headsets. Dave, what else do we need to throw in here while folks are still watching us? Or maybe they just happen to be joining us now on the live. What do we need to tell them? Why are they even listening to us today?
Listen, you're listening to us because we're the experts in the industry. That's why you're listening to us. These conference speakers, again, every brand has them. There's some very low-end products that we're not selling, but they're out there. There's some higher-end products. There's some next-gen products like this Poly. Listen, these have been flying off the shelf. Rolando and I have been, when since March, when the pandemic hit, we worked very hard, and our buyers worked very hard to keep things in stock. And outside of the headsets, these conference devices, the speakers, were like our number 2 and number 3 sellers. Like they'd come in, they'd go out so fast across all of the brands. Now, one of the brands that we wanted to highlight here was one of our favorites for quite a long time, and it's Sennheiser, now known as EPOS, the Adapt 30 or the SP 30/30 Plus. This speakerphone has been just a phenomenal product. Yes, it is a disc. I know that we have one here. Comes with a nice bag. I think the word is
neoprene bag. It's a travel case for it.
Bag. Real easy to pack away and throw in a laptop bag. Very easy to use. You can use it as Bluetooth or with a USB cable. It has a USB management system there in the back that Rolando is showcasing, so it can wrap right around itself, be held in place. The receive audio on this for fun, if you're listening to music, between this and the other disc style products, has been definitely the top performer of them.
Yeah, Dave, we had this rated we did a head-to-head battle, and this was our second rated one above the other speakerphones that we had out there. The Poly came in number 1 for the audio and waterproofing and several other things. But this is a really good choice for those folks that like the Sennheiser brand. Maybe you want a round form factor. It comes with the cable that I'm showing you here to connect it. And it does come with the USB-A, USB-C connector, so that if you want to use it with your USB-C connection, it comes that way.
That's
and
nice.
If you have the A-style connector on your computer, you just plug that in, put those two things together, and now you have a way to connect it into the USB-A connector, which most people still use today, and that's what's on most laptops at this moment. Dave, you were going to say something else, or?
Yeah, so we have a special with this particular unit now. Like the other speakerphones that we're showcasing, they're available with or without a dongle. Obviously, the dongle will generally have a higher price point, but we have a special on this product for the EPOS Expand
for Prime Days
SP30 Plus for Prime Days. We have this loaded up. I'm showcasing it right now with the dongle for $184 and change. So scoop these up while you can. They will not last long. So that's the special here for that particular product. It's also important for us to kind of point out, what? Sometimes organizations go through a branding change, and right. It takes a little bit of time for the market to fully understand that it's the same brand. It just has a new name to it. Jabra's gone through it. Plantronics / Polycom have gone through that. Sennheiser / EPOS is going through that as well. So if you're a consumer out there and you've purchased Sennheiser in the past and you're looking for a Sennheiser solution, the market for the call center and office solutions, which is where these play, they call themselves EPOS. The insides, the engineering, none of that has changed. That's all the same. The form factors, the same. The name on the box, the name on the product, that changed. It's EPOS. It's not a knockoff. It is still the same quality product that you know and love.
Absolutely, Dave. Thanks for pointing that out because a lot of folks still don't know, and we should just keep saying it until people. Oh yeah, EPOS is the new brand. So thanks for pointing that out. Um, it's a great device, and I will say that the device that you see here, that's the one that I was using for a long time until the sync came around, and I was just that much more impressed with the sync. But this is still a really good quality device. I really love the. And I'm going to take a sip of water. No, I really love the tactile nature of the buttons on here. If I
Yeah.
just go in here and show you, the buttons are really. Look, I got a little something on here. That's why you don't let your kids play with these expensive toys. They become like coasters or something for them. So um, it's got
Hey, the fact
NFC.
that your kid is using a coaster at 2 years old is pretty impressive.
You'd
I
be.
still,
I'm
I
sure.
still don't know how to use a
I'm
coaster.
sure any parents with little toddlers and little kids, things become they get used for things that you never intended for them to be used, right? So you get these buttons, Dave, that I just you can press on them. That it kind of gives you feedback, and that's what it's a little different than the when we look at a Jabra, they're kind of virtual buttons, but in this case, the EPOS has you can feel. So I'm going to just try to turn this on. So I'm going to go over
Yes.
here. The
It's kind
buttons
of
are very
it's
intuitive.
that analog feel. It's that click,
Yes,
click.
yes, you can feel when you press on it right there, and it's get lit up. And so and then you go the LEDs. So now it's trying to pair. It's looking for my Bluetooth. In this case, would be my cell phone. So that's what I used it a lot to do a lot of demos with that. Um, and you could do several things here. You can mute as well, right? You can see it lit up. Now it doesn't have, it's not connected to anything, but I'm trying to just show you for demonstration purposes. It'll light up. So when you're muted, and you've got you can hear it. You hear that sound. That's so that
Yeah.
you know you're increasing or decreasing volume. It's still trying to pair because I don't have the Bluetooth on my phone on right now for while we're recording. You have the ability to hang up and take a call. I should say hang up and take a call. It's a multifunction button, power, and NFC. Very simple, straightforward, solidly built. It feels solid. It's a solid device in your hand as well. So if you happen to, some people like certain types of design and form factors. Maybe the color scheme is what you like, or even the metal polished look on the top. It's all very high end look. It's a very good business type of device that would up your game if you're using your laptop today to do conversations, or maybe you're just using your speakerphone, Dave. A lot of people are still using their speakerphone as the way of to communicate. They're on there, hey, and what those folks don't know is that they could easily up their game by using something like the EPOS or the Sync 20 as a speakerphone, and they would sound better to their clients, and their clients would hear them better as well.
Yeah. The return on investment is so fast on a product like this. Shoot, even if you can just make one conference call a week a better experience for you, you'll feel happy that you spent the $184.23, for the solution. The ROI is so fast.
I know. I don't know what else to say about the EPOS and the Sync, but it is really the way to go. If you're so, I would encourage you that if you have any inkling of, well, should I plunk that money down on that speakerphone? If you don't like wearing a headset, a speakerphone is a good place to start. As you know, Dave, we've talked to thousands of customers over the years. Some of them don't really want to wear a headset. They'll
Mm.
tell you, I don't want it, my hair or whatever. Maybe something's wrong with their ears or they're sensitive to things. It's a great place to go to start off if you're trying to improve your audio without having to use a headset. And in the case of the P15, which has the built-in improved microphones, it's another way to go if you need that video component. But if you're just going audio only and you're not you're like, no way, no how, I'm not using a headset, never ever, the SP30 that just showed you is a good way to go, or the Sync 20. is a good place to start when you're looking at upping or improving your audio game.
Yeah, and chances are non-users out there are working with people that have deployed these products within the past 15 plus months. Again, we couldn't keep these things on the shelf. There's a whole new batch of people out there that have decided that they want to up their game. I know we kind of kill that term to death, but I'll tell you, these speakerphones, it's such an easy way to make your life more enjoyable throughout the day, your business a little bit easier to maintain. When you're struggling to hear and you're struggling to communicate, you're making life hard on yourself. This is, again, such a minimal investment to make your business just make it easier for you to do business. Excuse me, kind of flubbed on that.
That's all right, Dave. No, we've been sitting here for 2 hours, and so we want to, as we wrap here, we want to thank those that have joined us today. Some of those people have come in and out of the broadcast today that were watching us. But if you missed all of the good stuff, just hit that replay button. We're gonna air this again so that you can see this. But we enjoy having you participate with us today. We want to engage further with you. We invite you to be part of our community. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the follow, because we do come out with additional nuggets. We come out with additional nuggets throughout the week on different topics, like Answer the Community, Dave. You know, folks send us questions through the week. I sit down with the microphone and look right into the camera and answer their questions and take the time to go in detail on the matters that are important to them. What we can't cover on the broadcast because we just run out of time. But I invite you to join the community that we're of like-minded individuals that are trying to learn, trying to get better, trying to sound and look amazing so that you represent your brand the best way possible. And
well
so,
said.
Oh, thank you. And so we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of What the Tech.
Bye.